Welcome. Welcome, Mr. R.K. Dham,
Thank you.
an old friend of the School of Ancient Wisdom, and a pleasure to see you here again. Mr. Dham is a motivational trainer and the founder member of the Atma Bodha Center for Learning and Healing. He is an alumnus, a guest and alumnus faculty at the Indian Institute of Science. He is also a trustee in the NGO People's Trust. He is dedicated to the spreading of the holistic health movement under this umbrella. He is also a yoga master and a holistic health and wellness promoter. Apart from this, he is an author, and his book, Your Back is the Backbone of Your Health, was awarded a gold medal. We look forward to your talk, Mr. Dham, sharing the skills for life mastery and enlightened living. I now invite Mr. Dham to address us all. Thank you.
Thank you, Sunita.
Thank you.
And it's over to you, Mr. Dham.
Okay. Namaste. Namaste has a very spiritual meaning. It means I bow to you. Why I bow? Because I see the divinity in you. And same divinity is in me. So that is the thing which can take us there when we start feeling that every soul is potentially divine. And our goal is to manifest that divinity within. In 1990, myself and my professor, Dr. K.N. Krishna Swamiji, we started working together. Because we were both from the management side. He was a professor of management studies at the Indian Institute of Science, and I was a student and researcher. So we started working on something so that the professional people, they can get some model for the self-development so that they can live a happy, healthy, successful, and fulfilled life. So I'll be discussing how that model was developed, this thing, and how then we said that model is for the enlightened living. Here, enlightened living is happy, healthy, successful, and fulfilled life. That is the aim, so that everyone can utilize the foundation what our gurus, our rishis and yogis gave to day-to-day life. So I'll just give you a little background about the Professor Krishna Swamiji. He did his ME in aeronautic science from ISC. Then he worked in the defense ordnance factory in the production site. Then something change took place. He decided to join the Ramakrishna mission as a full-time member. Everything was decided. Then he went to Tirupati temple to seek the blessings for that one new journey. So for 3 days, he was on a fast, just on the water, to get himself prepared to seek the blessings of the thing. In that 3 days, something revealed from inside, which told him, Krishna Swami, you have a different role. And that was so strong that he decided that he will not join the Ramakrishna mission as a full-time member. So that mission we will see how got accomplished in this thing. Myself, I was doing engineering. In 1966, I was in Bhopal, second year. Then I heard that Mahesh Yogi, he has come to Bhopal, and early morning he will be giving initiation in the transcendental meditation. So I got up, took my bath, and went early there. So I had the opportunity of getting initiated by the Mahesh Yogi when I was in second year of engineering. So he told me that, Dham, this will help you not only in your engineering, in your whole life there. And that was little turning point, though I was very busy in the engineering. At night, just while sleeping, he gives you some name, you keep on repeating that one. In the beginning, I was not enjoying that one, but slowly, I don't know what time I will get to sleep. Just putting into that, and morning when I get up, that name will come. So that was keeping me totally relaxed and energetic. So there the beginning started. Then I had the opportunity of meeting Swami Rama also, number of times in Bangalore there. And then I spent some time with Swami Ramdev ji. Because I was impressed by him, he took the yoga to the masses. So our job was also to take that one. So we were meeting and started working together. Then we were impressed by Swami Vivekananda ji and Ramakrishna, his guru. Because when I read that Narendra as a young Vivekananda, when he went to the Ramakrishna, he asked, have you seen God? And Ramakrishna said, yes, I have seen. And I will help you to see that God. So then Vivekananda ji became his guru. And you know all those things. So there he said that one, that every soul is potentially divine. Every soul is potentially divine. And our goal is to manifest that divinity within through work, worship, religion, philosophy, anyone or combination of them. So then let's see that what is that potential. He says that every soul is potentially divine. To understand that what potential means, suppose you take some seed. Take these days, the mango season is there. If you take the mango seed, we know that from one mango, one seed is coming. But if I ask you how many seeds, how many mangoes this seed can give, nobody can calculate because millions and millions can come. They are all in the potential form. In the seed, there's a potential to manifest number of mangoes into that. So similarly, in our system, body-mind system, that divinity is in the potential form. So we started thinking that this potential, how we can manifest. Then we were working, the seed becoming a tree is a mystery. What we do? First, we will select the seed, whichever we want. Similarly, in our system, we say, whatever goal you want, you select as a seed. So whatever is your aim, whatever is your goal, we consider as seed. Then what we do? We prepare the body, the earth. We dig up whatever unnecessary things are there, grass we remove. Similarly, in our system, we have to prepare our body-mind system, do some cleansing, get it ready for that one. Then what we do? Then we implant the seed at a certain depth. So similarly now, in our body-mind system, we go deep within little one, and then we implant that goal as a seed. Then the seed, we do the nurturing, take care of that one, do watering, everything, see that all the things are there. Similarly, in our life also, once we have implanted our goals into the deeper levels of consciousness, then we have to nurture them so that they can get manifested that. So we like this analogy. So same thing we use in our model, what we call for the enlightened living. Then we also came across the Patanjali, Maharishi Patanjali, because he was the first man who gave a system, what we call as the Ashtanga Yoga, that you have a goal to go to that state of Samadhi, and then he gave the steps. You follow this method, then you can achieve that one. So there, in one of the book, Dr. Deepak Chopra has nicely translated the philosophy of the Maharishi Patanjali, that when you are inspired by some great purpose or some extraordinary project, see, there should be a extraordinary, your goal should be there, or the project you want to take, that should be able to inspire you. So once you get inspired by that, then all the mind limitations, they go away. Then the consciousness expands in every direction, and the hidden talents, faculties which are there, they start sprouting, they start coming out. And that is then you find a change, you can achieve your goal. So here also in our system, we first decide, what should be your mission in this life, by which you can get inspired, not motivated. Motivated is a little small thing, We get motivated on the New Year Eve when we write so many things. And the studies have indicated that 70% of the people don't see the next day. And nearly other people, they go for 1 month and then they forget about. But if you are inner inspired is there, you get inspired by something, yes. So that way, what we designed the system such a way that the goal or a mission what people should have, they should get inspired by that. Most of the people assume that the goals are known, and they develop a system for achieving the goal. But when we went to the people met, and even in the CEOs of the companies, they know the goal and mission and a vision of the company. But when we asked them your individual one, we were surprised that majority of the people are not very clear. Many people assume that the company goal is my goal, but that doesn't bring you the fulfillment. You will be busy, and then that's why we find many successful people we have come across who have committed suicide. They may be very good in the work side, they have done excellent work into that one. So something is missing into that. So for that getting inspired, we said that suppose go to the relaxed state and start thinking, if there is no failure, what you would like to do in every aspect of your life. Say if you are a professional, in your profession, what you would like to do. In your life, personal life, what you would like to do. In your family life, what you would like to do. In your business one, the hobbies one there. So that people, when they start writing there, they are getting little more clear about their life mission, personal life mission. And more we ask, see, one more question you put, that people should remember you for what? Answer it. So then people are coming with beautiful things. Some people say for my poetry, for my writings, for my books, for my designs, for my creations. So once they answer these two questions, that if there is no failure, what they would like to do. And they should be remembered for what? If they keep on writing, they get a little idea about the mission, they start working into that. And because it is coming from the heart, they are inspired for that. So once the goal is clear, mission is here, and it's like a mini constitution. Your value system also should come. What values you would like to follow in that one, that all come in the personal mission statement, so that people become very clear. No confusion should come, whether they go to the business or whether they go to the other life or whatever is there. So they make themselves. Nobody is imposing that one. So that is the little guiding principle which comes. Once that is there, then we have to prepare our body-mind system and implant that one by going to the deeper levels of consciousness. There, we find there are so many meditation methods, and we met many people. Majority of them, they have not experienced something, they have not liked it. Then they will leave it out. We said that it should be simple, so that the first session itself, people should experience some change. So we name a beautiful state. We don't call as a meditation one, we call as a beautiful state where the body is totally relaxed. When body is relaxed, the mind also becomes calm and quiet. So once they feel little calmness and quietness, then they feel, yes, some change is there. Then we go little further. So in our beautiful state, the relaxation is inbuilt. And we want at the cellular level relaxation should come. So for that we studied, in our brain, there's a map. We call the sensory map. That only identifies, this is my hand, this is my body, this is their limits. Everything is decided by in the brain, there's a map. When we saw that map, we were surprised the areas, though the feet is smaller in size, that the area to feet is given much more. The palms, hands are given, our lips, face is given much more than the trunk. So in the relaxation method, when we do part by part, we follow that sensory brain model. So we do. So once the body is relaxed, and then, the sound vibrations are very good. So we wanted to make it easier. And our Om is the three sounds, Akara, Ukara, and Makara. These are the primordial sounds. It came before the language came. So these have got very powerful thing. And some of the people who have worked, we say in the color side, there are three basic colors. From all other colors are made from those three basic colors. We say these are the three basic sounds, Akara, Ukara, and Makara. And all these sounds are made from this. So we have trillions of cells. Every cell will have its different frequency. When it is vibrating at that frequency, normal frequency, then it is healthy. But due to any reason, the frequency changes, then we have problem at the cell level. So if we learn to vibrate these three basic sounds, Akara, Ukara, and Makara, then all these trillions of cells, they will have their natural frequencies tuned up. Because these are the three basic sounds from which all other sounds are made of that. So we use the three basic sounds And then we took the 3 energy centers in our body. That is, one is the navel, that is the center of creation. In India, we call the Brahma, the seat of Brahma, the creator of this universe. So we take our attention to navel and vibrate the sound of Nakara. Ah. So that will activate your energy center, the navel, which is the center for creation, or seat of Brahma, because Brahma is considered in India as the creator of it. Then we go to the heart and vibrate the sound of Ukara. This is a center for maintenance and sustenance. So India we call the seat of Vishnu. Vishnu is the maintainer and sustainer. And heart we found is a divine organ. It is not just a pump. Because if you go to Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says the Atma is in the heart. Similarly, in the Bible also, it is the heart. So we started working that there must be something secret about the heart. There must be something great. That's why our scriptures are talking about more of the heart. Then when we went to think, see, after the mother conceives the child, heart is the first organ which start working. The mothers will feel, my child is now, the heart is beating. That is after about 22 days. That time no other organ is formed. That means it is a mother organ. It is the mother of all the things. Then after about 220 days, the brain start functioning fully. Then they start working together. So heart in our chest and brain in our head, this is a couple. They are not two separate organs. It is a couple. It is a continuum. They work together, and that is the mind. And they control the everything. Now, when heart is the first organ, that means it must be communicating. Communicating for the formation of the brain also. Communicating for all other organs also. But in the medical science, we found that they have not found. But then we saw about 10 years back, people have done some work. So they have written there, the communication from heart to brain and other part is much more than from brain to heart and other parts. This is now established. That means now the science is going, the medical science is going towards that one. Then, see, heart produces electricity. Heart is the only organ in our body which produces, generates. My son-in-law is a leading cardiologist. He has done PhD and the postdoctoral work in ECG. I asked him, how the heart is producing electricity. He told me, Raj, we are all researching, we don't know much. But we know that something is going on. So when it is producing electricity, it has a field. So that field is helping, and that field can be increased. The yoga says, that's why they call this as the Anahata Chakra. The energy center is known as Anahata, and through heart only you can communicate with everyone in this cosmos. Because it has a field, and the yoga teaches you the method to increase that field. If any subjective communication is to be done, like telepathy, it is from the heart only. If any distance healing is to be done, you have to utilize, because that only has the power to do. So that's why the heart is very important thing. So we started working on heart-mind approach. So people give a lot of importance to emotion, but when I discuss with the doctors, he said, "Dham, all the hormones, everything is produced by the brain only. Why do you call that the heart is the emotion center?" I started thinking, yeah, there must be something. Because our rishis, our yogis, our scriptures, they were the greatest scientists. There must be. Then recently research has indicated that it is granular. It has the glands. And they are now working which way the communication going there, and it produces the hormone. It is working now together. It sent the signal to the brain and then it's there. Now, a lot of studies have been done by putting the medical studies, research studies, where the relationship between the heart and brain has been established. So that means our scriptures say that heart is the mother organ, the soul, the consciousness resides there. Then in the Vedas, it is written there that in your heart, there's a little space, which is secret. Nobody knows. It will not be visible when you dissect, but it is sacred. Pavitra hai. In that little space is big enough to hold the whole cosmos, the sun, the earth, everything, the galaxies, that little space. And that little space is the source of wellness, everything. So then we thought that, we should try to work on that little space in a little way so that we can get the help for our living, enlightened living. Enlightened living means here you should be always in the state of happiness. You should have a good health because that is our temple where the soul resides. So we have the duty to take care of our body. So that is now it is coming. So we in our system, we give a lot of importance to heart. We have developed some very simple meditation for heart. See, in the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, Patanjali says, when you take awareness, attention to any part, the illumination takes place. When I read that, I was thinking, what is this? When you take the awareness to any part, the illumination takes place. Then I was thinking, see, what we do meditation, there are two major methods. You observe your breathing. So that means you take your attention to the breathing and you observe, and a lot of studies have been done that if you keep on observing, the changes take place. The pattern of breathing changes. And some of the research studies at the Bihar School of Yoga, I have seen their thesis that psychological and physiological changes take place just by observing your breath. So that's why we observe our breath. The other method is observe your thoughts. When you start observing what is the thought coming and don't get attacked, then let it go, automatically go. If you keep on doing that one, then the number of thoughts can keep on reducing, and you can go to the thoughtless state. So when this was there, I thought if we can become aware of our own heartbeat, then the heartbeat pattern will change for better because our system is designed for that. So now how to put the heartbeat? I found it is very easy because if you bring your palm near to the heart, keep it on the chest, and then the chest movement up and down indicates the heartbeat. And awareness of the heartbeat, the chest movement up and down is very easy. You can easily do. It is much easier than even your breath, breathing or the thought. But this gives you much better results. Because heart is the main thing, all functioning of the body, they depend on your heart functioning. Even your skin resistance and nothing. So I started doing some experiment with I opened up my yoga center as my lab, where people come free, we don't charge anything, so that we can see the changes which are coming place, they do. So when we started becoming aware of our own heartbeat, by just keeping a palm, right hand palm there near our chest, adjust the position so that you can feel the heartbeat. Chest movement up and down indicates. Keep on doing that one. Then I found that whatever parameters I could measure, whatever the instrument are with me, the change comes. It changes better. So that is the heart-mind approaching. So other is that one, suppose we want to become something, so role model should be there. So if you take up a role model and observe their lives together and try to adapt, study what way they are, then you can become like that. That's known as the role model. Many places is used. And in our BMP, when we were developing that one, we studied more than 3,000 people lives. Some people we met, some people their biographies, the other one, and find out the common characteristics of that, the scientists, the artists, the spiritual people, and based on that we tried that model of BMP. So, which has the 7 step. First step is know what you want in your life, get inspired by that. If whatever you have mission selected, you cannot get inspired, change it. It is of no use. So like that, once you are there, then you get focused to that. We call the alignment. Withdraw all your attention, get focused to that one. With a belief that the divinity is within you and you are going to that level, you are conveying your goals to that one. With that faith, we start. That step we call alignment. We are getting aligned to our work, what we want. Third one is entering into the deeper levels of consciousness. So there we are using the heart-mind approach. And first we relax the body so that the mind gets relaxed. So we have a vehicle, what we call rhythmic balance. Then pacific harmony, we go little more beyond alpha level. So when people do that simple exercise, we have said everybody is able to go to the alpha level very easily. But many people go to the theta and the delta level also. But all the things they are aware of that. Awareness remains. Though you are producing the theta and the delta one, you are aware of that. And then you are programming convey. So once that entry is done, then we program, implant the seed. Our goals as the seeds into that one. And then we nurture. So that we have some vehicle using the various tools. We have developed 4 vehicles. 2 for going to the deeper level, that rhythmic balance and pacific harmony. Once you are gone, third is the implantation. Implant your goals as seeds. 4th one is the nurturing. Yeah. So once you have done the programming, then we have the 5th step of surrender. Surrender is very important. Surrender is not giving up. Surrendering to the divinity within, that power which is within us, which is the source of creation, which is the source of all manifestation. We have gone to that depth and conveyed our goal and then we are surrendering to that. So that no anxiety will come. Whenever you have a goal, then anxiety will come whether this will happen or not. And that anxiety brings a lot of problems. So surrender is the thing. So after surrender, we come out of the state, and then that also procedure should be there because you are going into deeper levels of consciousness. After that is the follow-up, start action. So there we found that there are three basic Shaktis which are available with everyone. Those three basic Shaktis we call, one is the Ichha Shakti. Have a desire, have a wish, have a will, what you do want to do. That Ichha Shakti is used. Then we have Gyan Shakti. That Shakti by which we can get the know-how, the knowledge there by going. Then third one is the Kriya Shakti. Start acting into that, take action into that one. So these are the three basic Shaktis. The Ichha Shakti, have a goal. So in BMP, we help them to have a goal. Then Gyan Shakti, go to the deeper levels of consciousness into a meditative state, beautiful state, so that you can get the knowledge. That is we are using the Gyan Shakti. Then the Kriya Shakti, we start changing. That these three Shaktis we are using in the having a enlightened living, so that we can achieve that goal of enlightened living. Then corresponding to these three, we have three nadis and the three swaras. So they are all three related. I'll explain you. So first we come to the swara. What is swara? Because many people would not have heard the word swara. Swara means sound, but here is the sound of the breath. People will think, here is the sound of breath. See, breath is a frequency. Any frequency will have a sound associated with that one, but it is very subtle. So our yogis, our rishis, they went deep into meditation. They could hear that sound of the breath. And that was, when we are breathing, is so. And when we are breathing out, it is hum. So that is a sound. So there is a yoga they call Swar Yoga. To understand that Swar Yoga, where three swaras come, let's see the nasal airflow cycle. We all have a nose, and we know that it has got two nostrils. Majority of the people, even in the science, the doctors, when I asked, they were not knowing why the God, the Creator, has provided two nostrils. There must be some purpose for that. So let's do something. At any one time, one is active. Either your left is active or right is active. Let's see now, everybody. Just little check and try to see at this moment which nostril is more, the air is more flowing. We call active one. Just either you do like this, you can find whether the air is coming more from the left one or the right one. Okay. Or sometimes some people may find it is equal. So when just little try, people just try to find out whether your left is active or the right is active. On the chat you can put there so that you know. And then there's a cycle. There's a cycle, it keeps on changing. Sometime, now suppose your left is working, after some time the right will start working, and in between there's a third swara when both are equal. The whole thing for our physical health, mental, emotional, spiritual health, these three swaras can give you whole idea about that. So when your left nostril is equal, flow is more active, that is one swara they call the Chandraswara. The Chandra Nadi, the Ida Nadi is active. When your right nostril is there, then the Surya Nadi is active. The Pingala Nadi is active. And see the beauty. Dr. Sperry was awarded this Nobel Prize for his discovery that these two hemispheres of the brain, left and right, they have different functions. But our scriptures, Shiva Sarvodaya, which is minimum 3,000 years, it tells very clearly that two hemispheres are there, and it can tell you which is there. If your left nostril is active, we know that the right hemisphere electrically activity is more. So your right brain is more active that time. Your energy equation is there. About right brain functions. Right nostril is working. That means your left brain activity is more, so you can function. And when both are equal, whole brain. Scientists, people talk about use the whole brain, but they don't know the method. When to know that whole brain is working? Our yogis in the Swar Yoga, they have given. When you find these two equal, then the prana start moving to the third one, Sushmana Nadi. So any people who are doing meditation, you observe. Before going to meditation, find out whether left is active or right is active. And do the meditation. If you have done good meditation, you have got to that rate, it will become equal. So, and when it is equal, then don't do anything mundane, do higher things. If you do meditation, you will go deeper into that. If you want to learn something deeper in the scripture, or you want to have greater knowledge into that one, do when both are equal. And science says that both the hemisphere are active that time. See the beauty, see the knowledge, see the depth of thing which our yogis had and they created. Nobody was knowing Swar Yoga about 20-25 years back because no English book was available. Then the Bihar School of Yoga, they brought out the English text of that. Then the Western people became. Then about 10 years back, scientists have done the work that what is the mechanism of this thing. Once they find it's a cycle, then very interesting, there are two small glands here. One in the right side of the nostril, other left one. Then the signal come from the autonomous nervous system. And then say one gland start expanding. So their breathing is becoming less, the other is open, it is working. After some time, this starts shrinking and the other one start expanding. This is now the science has found out about 10-15 years back only, the nasal cycle. Now see the importance of that one. How it is going. So when your left is there, that means your right hemisphere is there. So that time Ichha Shakti energy is more. Work on your mind side. When your right is working, that is the Pingala San one. So your body equation is full for Kriya, doing actions. That is the left brain functions. And when both are equal, then you are balanced. And the scripture said, don't do anything mundane, don't waste time in doing some small things, do higher things. And then there are methods by which we can change it over. The whole purpose of the yoga enlightenment is to see. Normally people only either left is working or right. Ida and Pingala, we are there. Sushmana, when it is changing over for a very small time, it is there. But there are methods by which we can increase this thing. The duration of the equal thing. So when we found out, we were very, very interested into that. And in our model, we have incorporated this Swar Yoga concept, you can see. Now in my coaching when I'm doing, I'm asking people, so every 15 minutes, note down left or right, one day you do. And that time, how you are feeling. People have noted down and they are surprised, that when your left is working, how is your things, how you are feeling. When right is working, when both are equal, and there are very simple methods for making it equal also. Your Nadi Shodhana Pranayama one. Another, in our BMP, we teach the swinging of the arms, Swaiso. That is from Zen. Swaiso, swai means, is a Japanese, swai means swing. You are armed with the feeling of throwing out. So it is to be done properly into that, but it is the most simple thing. When I was coming to School of Ancient Wisdom, we used to teach people coming from the Taiwan and other thing, and they really like that one. And it is being there. So now I have been doing some studies. I found out now many people as a healer, lot of people were coming with hypertension. So I told them, note down your breathing pattern. When is your, just simply right, left, right, there or right. I found that most of the people who are having hypertension, their right is more prominent, the Surya Nadi, the Pingala Nadi. That's why that is creating the left is, because the left is parasympathetic and right is sympathetic. So we can balance our nervous system. Today, this medical science knows that nervous system, sympathetic and parasympathetic, but they don't know the method. That how they can balance it, or how they can find out how the sympathetic and parasympathetic is there. So when I studied this thing, then about 2 years back, I went to Ramaiah Medical College. There they have a medical electronics group. People do the engineering in medical electronics. I talked to their professor, told them that I want to give talks to students so that some students should take up a project to design a instrument by which we can record. So he was impressed. Then I took some classes for the student, and 3 students came up that they took up their project, because in their course they have to do the project to designing. So by experiment, we found out that temperature sensors they are very sensitive. So if we put the sensor, they can find out whether left is working, right is working, and those students develop that we can get a graph there. So that the how the instrument will work, and then they have to see that graphical form should come. We can see how it is there. Now this year, the next batch, I wanted them to take it more further into that one. So they have taken up. Now due to COVID, it is there. Then we are coming out for a longer time. I felt that this COVID situation, because here the breathing is affected, if we try to see the breathing pattern, when the left or right is working, what is the duration, it can give the indication. Because if we do for, say, 50 people who are having COVID one and find out their pattern, then so the professors and they all agree. We had put up to the government a proposal that this thing come, but somehow it has not come, because they say, where are the studies? This is something new what we are thinking. But manually I have recorded. So these 3 swaras, they are related with the 3 nadis. See, whole of the Ayurveda, the radial thing, they are based on these 3 nadis. And Vata, Pitta, Kapha is also based on this. One of the person has done in during his PhD. He is now the professor in one of the engineering college. I am in touch with that one. He did with the Siddhas in Tamil Nadu. Siddha doctors are very common. So they do with the Nadi radial thing. So using the radial one, they found out these are the problem. This fellow designed the instrument and find out the swaras. And then there was a correlation. He proved that the 3 radial pulses, which are very difficult to measure, but these 3 swaras are easy. He has proved into that there's a potential. And I am thinking there that if we collect lot of information, say for any disease, diabetes, say if we take 100, 200 people, then it will have some pattern like our ECG or EEG is giving some pattern we can find out. Similarly, this is super to that. It is superior to ECG and EEG because it is giving how your sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous system is working. So that condition we can know. And you will be surprised when I read that scripture, there is one shloka. It says that if you find that left is working without shifting to the right continuously for 2 weeks, it doesn't shift over, you can take it granted that in the coming 14 days, this fellow is going to die. Similarly, if you find the right one, without shifting to the left, continuously is there for 2 weeks, you can take it granted. So when I discuss with the doctors, he says that we don't know. If you say it is reflecting sympathetic and parasympathetic, then we agree. Because if only sympathetic system is working continuously, problem happens. Or only parasympathetic there. So this is the work we are trying to now try to do, and then we do. This will give a new paradigm, not only for spirituality. In this spirituality, the whole thing is there, how we can make our prana flow through the Sushmina Nadi. Normally it is flowing through the Ida and Pingla, left and right, how we make it. But similarly, not only in spiritual, but in our psychology and physiology also, this is important. That way, we are trying to work into that. So, any question we can put now because 7:30 is there. So, I would like to have some questions so that I'll try to answer you. Anybody who wants to ask question, they can unmute and ask.
Thank you, Mr. Dham. Now we will have the questions.
Yes.
Any questions, anyone? Kindly put them in the chat box, or you may unmute and ask your question.
That will be best.
I have 2 questions, Mr. Rajkumar
Yes.
Dham.
Yes, yes, sir.
I am Janaki Ram.
Yes, yes, Janaki.
Okay.
Yes.
What I want a question, I'm sure you would have studied. They say Kriya Yoga helps in making the breath go through the Sushmana Nadi. That is one clarification or question.
Yeah.
Second one is about vagus nerve. People also talk about the vagus nerve, stimulating the vagus nerve.
Okay. Now coming to Kriya Yoga, there are different methods. Every method finally is aimed to make that one equal. So Kriya Yoga also there are different things they try to make. So our with the autobiography of the yogi Paramahansa Yoganandaji, he revived the Kriya Yoga. And it is really very powerful. I have been in touch with them. So that is one method. But I found very thick just by swinging the arms in the particular way he does so. If I do for half an hour, it becomes equal. Or if you do hard
methods are quite
meditation,
simple and easy for
then the
common.
duration we have to increase. Yes, Janaki Ram.
What is this vagus nerve people talk about and
Because
stimulating?
they are talking, I don't see. I have not done much work. See, in the Kriya Yoga, what they do, they take your tongue, they put it, and where the little tongue is there, we have to touch there. So most of the people, they do into that mark. But my spiritual guru, he told me there is no need of that one. If you take your awareness to that part where the little tongue is there and breathe in from that and breathe out from that. When I did there, immediately within 5-10 minutes, you can feel something because when the Sushmana becomes active, immediately you can feel. And many times, see, whenever you enjoy, you see whether you are doing gardening, you are reading the novel, you are where you are going little beyond time and space. You don't know. Somebody has to remind whether you are reading something. You have gone to that one. Yes, Janki Ram.
Very much, sir. Helped.
Are there any other
I have
questions?
heard, but I have not done much work. They are Kriya Yoga. I know. I've been doing all the methods of Kriya Yoga. The aim is only to see. When we see that if you do even very simple things, see, because I'm an engineer basically, I try to simplify. One is this so I can say swinging of the arms. So people have tried. I will tell you the example now. One lady from Iran, Shehnaz, she was in Bangalore when my workshop was there on Swaiso. I used to do half a day program at the Gandhi Bhavan. So she came and attended that one. After 3 days, she gave me a ring. Dham, I'm finding very interesting. I want to meet you and learn a little more. I said, come. She came to my home. She learned this thing. Then she wanted a certificate so that she wanted to teach in Iran. So it is non-religious. So we gave the certificate. She went to Iran. She started teaching there. After 3 years, she again came to Bangalore. She gave me a call. Dham, I want to meet you. I said, come. First sentence he told them, you are underestimating the power of Swaiso. I said, tell me, Sister Shehnaz, what is your experience? She said, I started teaching people in Iran only to the ladies. And there she said that the breast cancer is very common. In these 3 years, when people have been coming, I found a lot of improvement there in their breast cancer. So I had read there, the Bodhidharma has written that this is good for any problem, cancer, anything. But I had no opportunity to see. But she tried. She says, really, 12 people, I can say almost they are cured. Then I asked her, Shehnaz, tell me what else you got. She told me, no, only I was teaching that Swaiso. Can I tell me what else? Then she told me, in India, I learned that carrot juice and nothing. I was telling them, take vegetable juices. Okay. Then I further asked him, because see, I had to find out what more you. Then she said, I was teaching them the Ujjayi Pranayama. It's a little one. But basically, my 30 minutes, I will teach that one and then this. In Ujjayi Pranayama, we are taking from the throat. We breathe in from the throat. That is very, very important. Then I started trying with that one and simplify it that, take your awareness to the throat, breathe in, breathe out, do this far, you will go to the beautiful state. You can try because I want everyone to try and then we can have again some session so that you can give a feedback, whatever I say. So one is that we must have a goal. Then when we went little more detail into the science, we came across that in our body, there is an automatic goal striving mechanism. Our brain is a goal striving mechanism. When you give a goal, then it tries to work. And Abdul Kalam ji has written, who is a man of missiles, he has written that in the missile, they are making a servo mechanism by which they can track the enemy aircraft and then hit it. He said in the human being, that servo mechanism is much more complex and powerful than that one. So that is the automatic goal strike. The moment you have a goal, then that servo mechanism which is there, that starts operating. That's why we give a lot of importance to that. So that's science. Then I started studying about the servo mechanism, how it does into that one. So that I've written one blog about this one. I can send you my blog one there about how the automatic goal striving mechanism works and how we can make use of it. So we have combined the science and our scripture for a day-to-day life so that everyone can lead a enlightened life, happy, healthy, successful, and fulfilled. Any other question?
Thank you. Someone wants to know if there's any book she can read. Ahalya has put that in the chat.
They
She
can contact
says-
me. One is, I have Professor Krishna Swami and myself, we have written a book that is Create Your Own Future Through Body Program. That is available on online. So many people are purchasing. That is the Create Your Own Future Through Body Mind Programming. That is by Professor K.N. Krishna Swamiji and my name Rajkumar Dham. That online it is available. Its price also quite less, about 295. So that gives you the detail how we develop this thing. Further, they can contact me. I am there ready. And in this Corona last year, I started online program. 16 August, I started my and good first batch has gone. 3 months, second, third is going on. People are quite happy. My idea is to pass on this knowledge so that people can use. So we have people from psychology, people, psychiatrists are there, therapists are there, NLP people are there, the spiritual people are there, and then the CEOs of the companies are there, young people are there who wants. So we say that book is available. Plus, I started writing blogs about. Recently, I have written 3. One is about the designing our life. There, the steps and the toolkit I gave on. The other is among the brain's automatic goal striving mechanism. That is there. The third is the creativity and innovation. About that one. Fourth, I'm writing about the mindset. How we can change by our method program. Because programming is very powerful. Why we like in a computer, inputs are coming. The program is processing, depending on the program, outcome comes. So if you change the program, the outcome changes. Similarly, we thought that in our system, lot of inputs are coming from our thing. So if we change the program, our outcome will change, our behavior will change, our attitudes will change, our perception will change, our mindset will change. So that we have tried on many people. There is a new paradigm for self-transformation, bringing a change in the behavior. So we are using going to the beautiful state and using the science of morphogenic field and synchronicity, all those type of things. And now if you go to the quantum physics, they are very, very similar to what our Vedantic philosophy says. So we are telling that this is the quantum physics people say, and this is this is what we have incorporated in DMP. So I will welcome that. That's why see, I love School of Ancient Wisdom. I'm ready to pass on the knowledge, whichever way. My number is there. My email is also easy, rkdham@gmail.com.
RK Ram, is it?
rkdham, DHAM Dham, @gmail.com.
Okay.
So you can write. My mobile number is there with Sajani, with Ravi.
Can you just tell?
Okay, someone
People
wants
want
to
to
know. Someone
Yes.
wants to know how to get onto your blog.
I will send. I'll send to Ravi. No, Rajkumar, I will send you how we can.
And also, they want to know about your online classes. Though,
Yes. Good. So my online classes, there's no starting point and end point.
Okay.
People can join anytime. Though 3 months duration is there, then after 3 months, suppose they have joined, the next program 3 months start, it is free. They need not to pay. Some people from my first batch are continuing in the third batch. They like every time. Similarly, from second or third also they can be in the fourth, and everything is recorded also. I gone with some people, they They have a recording, their website, you go, you can access. So this is three months program. Every Sunday from 11 to 1:30, it is there. So we have a session for 2.5 hours. So we don't take too many people. I want to limit to the 15 so that we can interact there. So we cover the whole thing right from the mission having there, then learning the tools. We have a beautiful, they create their own BMP lab, virtual lab, where they go virtually and do something. Then we have a concept of a screen, BMP screen. So you start seeing yourself on the screen. Then we have a BMP guide, virtual guide. You select somebody, whether real or anything, living or not, at present when you are doing the programming. So in our scriptures also, and in the modern science also, this concept of having, the there. So we have that one. And then charges I kept very nominal, 7,990 at present is there. So people can join anytime and they can enjoy. Some people are there in that program for 9 months. They are repeating. I don't have anything because I want people to learn. I can send the link for making the
Yeah.
payment and joining it.
Can you
Idea
say-
is to, whatever we have done, it should spread.
Can you give your telephone number and also the link,
Yeah,
please?
98452
Okay.
98452 87581.
And the link to the program, you can,
We will
is it
send
possible?
you,
Ah,
because people have to first register. I will send that one. They go. That link I will put on this thing.
yeah.
Then they make there's a gateway where somebody is having the payment is made there, and then they get the link to join.
Thank you, Mr. Dam. Are there any other questions? If there are no questions, then now I request Malati to kindly propose a vote of thanks. Thank you so much, Mr. Dam. It was really very interesting and illuminating.
Thank you.
And
Now
Malati,
I wish this our School of Ancient Wisdom should take up that message. What we are doing the project, we want to take it forward because it has the potential to give a new paradigm to our medical system. We can treat because breath is God and breath permits the psychology.
What is the name of the book you just showed?
Create your own future through body mind programming. Create your own future through body mind programming. Swami and Rajkumar Dham.
Okay, thank you.
If you put create your own future to body mind programming, you will get who are the suppliers.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Life Positive had published it, but it is available on Amazon and other medium people have been purchasing.
Okay.
thank you. It's over to you, Malati, now. We can't hear you,
Yeah,
Malati.
you have to unmute.
I have
Please
to
unmute.
unmute. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Dam. Inspiring talk. You taught us so many things which kept us enthralled, literally. I'm sure all the participants will agree with this. And we learned a few points which made us think a bit also. And some of them I'll just go through. You told us that we have to know that divinity is a very big potential, and we have to and we must have certain goals which we can implant in first in our own inner consciousness, just like we would implant a seed in the earth. And this started a very talk and an explanation stage by stage as to how we can achieve this. And we should always have inspiration because this should be our guiding factor. And preparation of the stage for entering a meditative state is very important because this leads to relaxation, and this relaxation is inbuilt, will become inbuilt in us and prepare the ground for us to progress higher. And you also spoke of this very interesting coupling of the heart and the brain. I mean, we never thought of it as, being so interdependent, but now we've learned that also. And you also told us that if we want to do something much higher, we should do that best only when we start feeling that there is a balance in our breathing through both the nostrils, and then we will know at that time that both the hemispheres of our brain are working equally. So I'm sure most of the people will carry on learning more through the books and by attending your classes. And you answered the queries in a very nice manner and a very clear. I mean, it put us all into a very clearer position after listening to your answers. I hope they will come in the School of Ancient Wisdom when it opens up, that you will be able to come and have a workshop there. I'm sure everyone is looking forward to this. And before I put you on to Ramesh to do the Shanti Mantra, I would like to thank the School of Ancient Wisdom, Ravi, Aniket, and all the people. Saju, you really compare very well. And I would also like to add that these programs on this School of Ancient Wisdoms are there almost every day. And tomorrow, we at 6:30, the same time, you all will be able to listen to Vani Vasudev, who will be continuing the series on Saddarshanam. And also, you will be able on Saturday at 6:30 to listen to Swami Chidananda, who will be talking on Kathopanishad. Tomorrow morning, of course, Mr. Krishnapani Keshiraju will be doing the Bhagavad Gita series. And again, next Thursday, we will be having the next satsang. And I think that is on the, that has been projected, Jyoti Sham Sundar's program on managing pain and anxiety. All details and links and will be on the School of Ancient Wisdom. Please do attend. And we're looking forward to seeing everyone there. And now I will hand the mic to Ramesh. I think he is around to just chant the Shanti Mantra. Right, Saju?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Malti. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And
Welcome.
I'd also like to tell everyone that we have programs on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Thursdays. And those of you who would like to know more about them, kindly give us your name and number, put it in the chat box, and we will add you to our WhatsApp group, School of Ancient Wisdom WhatsApp group, and that way you will know all that's happening. Now, thank you so much, Mr. Dam, and we will chant the Loka Samasta for all the people all over the globe. There are a lot of people who are going through a lot of pain, suffering, and therefore Ramesh will now chant the Loka Samasta for all the people, not only in our country, but all over the globe. Over to you, Ramesh.
Thank you, Sajani. Thank you, Mr. Dam. That was a very inspiring and practical satsang that we had today from you.
Thank you.
On that note, Let us all sit straight with our back, neck, and head aligned. Let us keep in mind all our loved ones and our communities in these COVID times. Let people be empowered and uplifted. Let us all connect with each other while we chant this Loka Samasta today. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Brahma Arpanamastu.